Bitcoin just hit 69K, but what does that mean for Bitcoin's price over the next few days, few weeks, or even for the next few months, folks? In this video, I'm gonna show you a couple charts that I'm actually using for a profit-taking strategy in 2024. And everyone's risk profile is gonna be different, but this is the strategy I'm going to actually be using on when to sell Bitcoin, everybody. Now, the first chart I'm going to show you is when Bitcoin first hit 20K in December 2020. This is the first time it was testing previous all-time highs. You can see it kind of consolidated for a little bit, and then it was off to the races, folks. But how long did that take, everybody? Here, I'm gonna show you another chart here, and it actually has the amount of days. You can see right here, 133 days after reaching 20K, we hit the first high of 65,000, everybody. That was a little more than 4 months, and you can see on the chart, it pumped 222% during this time. That is more than tripled, everybody. But what about today? Can Bitcoin triple, everyone? Well, the first thing I wanna say is I think we are a little bit ahead of schedule with Bitcoin when it comes to its all-time high hitting this soon. We are hitting it before the halving, and there's a lot of reasons. You know, you could say it's anticipation, it could be an oil-rich nation, but I think the number one culprit is gonna be BlackRock and the Bitcoin ETFs. That's why we're hitting an all-time high 1 full month before we have the Bitcoin halving. In fact, more than a month. But since we are ahead of schedule, folks, I wanna show you this next chart, and this is measuring from the halving how long it took Bitcoin's price to hit previous all-time highs. Now, you can see it took almost a year after the halving for it to hit its top. That was 339 days, that little stretch period right there, from May until December, all right? And if you do the math there, that is 7 months after the halving. So in 2020, 7 months after the halving, we hit the previous all-time high. And this time we did it a month before the halving. We're talking about an 8-month difference, okay? So when I say we're ahead of schedule, folks, we are 8 months ahead of schedule when it comes to Bitcoin in relation to the 4-year cycle. But what about Bitcoin in 2024, folks? All right, well, the first thing I'm gonna tell you is, folks, we don't need to zoom out. We need to zoom in, okay? So we're gonna zoom in a little on December 2020, and you can see here on the 4-hour chart what the next few days were like, okay? So you can see afterwards we had that 11% pullback, and then it was 15 days. So about 2 weeks after that, Bitcoin was then up and to the right. So it was a nice consolidation area, some pretty large wicks, some pretty violent action in that short amount of time. And basically that was to wipe out the leverage traders and to shake out the weak hands. You don't wanna be these weak hands, everybody. So my first prediction is gonna be about 1 to 3 weeks. I wanna give or take a week here of volatility, everybody. It's gonna be very violent action, and it's gonna be trying to shake out the weak hands, and do not let it happen to you. But now what is the next move? And the next move I don't think is gonna be a 222% pump. I think that's a little bit high. I think we're gonna have diminishing returns. And so I'm coming in just 50% of that, which is gonna be 111% pump, still more than a doubling. And you know, with diminishing returns, we went from 20K to 70K, pretty much. That's a 3.5x. I think that will be cut in half to closer to a 1.75x, 2x, and I think the returns here are gonna be about half that as well. So 111% pump. But are we talking about a small amount of days or a long amount of days? Well, folks, we are ahead of schedule. In the bullish scenario, 133 days later, we're getting a $140,000 Bitcoin in July. Very, very bullish. Now, markets typically don't like to pump that hard in the middle of the summer. Bitcoin likes to pump in the winter. So folks, I'm still gonna say, you know, we're a little ahead of schedule, and it looks like it's gonna be closer to the 330-day mark, and that gives us a December top. And I think a December top for Bitcoin in 2024 makes a little bit more sense than, you know, pumping this hard this soon, even though the ETF frenzy is in full force right now. So my bold prediction is we top out in Q4, not Q3 here, everybody. And I just wanted to let you know, my main message right now is don't get shaken out of the markets. You saw what happened in December 2020, a lot of volatility, shaking out a lot of weak hands. A lot of people sold because they saw what happened to Bitcoin's price and said, oh, well, it's never gonna go higher than 20K. Look how hard it rejected. Do not let any kind of 10%, 20% blip shake you out of the markets. We are long-term Bitcoin holders, still strongly believe the 4-year cycle, and that still gives us a top in Q3 2025. So when we're talking about 2024 price predictions, these are gonna be short-term trades, not any kind of long-term trades I'm gonna be looking. So if I sell any Bitcoin, it's to buy in at a cheaper price. But right now, I'm not trying to catch any 10% moves in either direction, folks. I'm just trying to be a long-term hodler because, again, Q3 2025 is my prediction for the cycle top here, and I'm still sticking by that. And I'll just end it with this, folks. The journey for Bitcoin, it's been really, really easy these last couple weeks, last couple months. The journey's been almost too easy, everybody, and the journey's not meant to be easy, okay? This is gonna be a long journey. It's gonna be a long, rough road, and I'm not expecting a smooth sailing to Q3 2025, so just don't get shaken out of the markets. I'm DZ, and I better see you and your Bitcoin bags at the top.